Let's go through the picks. Round number 2 started with more from the SEC. After the SEC had 12 selections in the first round, of course, 6 of those from Bama. 12 in the first round, the Big Ten with 7, and the ACC with 6. Jacksonville takes Tyson Campbell, cornerback from Georgia, with pick number 1 in the second round. Tyson Campbell, of course, entered this process at Georgia as one of the top recruited players in the nation and one of the top rated players in high school football, and is, as is the case much of the time, the best players in high school football 3 to 4 years later become the best players leaving college football. There's Elijah Moore going to the Jets at number 2 in the second round, 34th overall out of Ole Miss. The workload that Elijah Moore took on at Ole Miss was astounding. He was targeted percentage-wise more than anyone in college football. He caught something like 86 passes this past season, and he was targeted constantly. He was the guy in the offense, and he continued, despite the double coverage, to be the guy and find his way to get open, out-fight, out-battle defensive backs for the ball. Landon Dickerson had a horrific injury to conclude the 2020 season for him, did not play in the playoffs. And Landon Dickerson, a bit of a gamble from a health standpoint, started his career at Florida State and is selected by Philadelphia. New England and Bill Belichick very comfortable with taking Alabama players, very comfortable with knowing how they have been discipled by Nick Saban and his staff, goes to the well again. So Nick Saban, or Bill Belichick, after taking Mac Jones in the first round from Alabama, goes back to Bama for Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, just a stalemate, stalwart, stout player in the middle for Bama. Dallas takes Kelvin Joseph from Kentucky, a cornerback. Really. The Giants took Azeez Ojulari coming off the edge at Georgia. They showed some of his highlights, of course, on the networks tonight. He had some ridiculous plays off the edge in which he was able to bend around the tackle, get to the quarterback, strip him, make big plays. Nick Bolton's a tremendous linebacker, tackling machine out of Mizzou, goes to the Kansas City Chiefs at 58. Terrace Marshall, we saw his work along with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, who just turned in an exceptional year, offensive rookie of the year in the NFC by the Minnesota Vikings. But Terrace Marshall goes to Carolina, team up with Sam Darnold there. Yeah, Uncle Lou, Trask not good enough to play in high school, good enough to play in the SEC. I don't think, I'm just taking a stab here, I don't believe that he's going to be good enough to play his first year with Tampa Bay. I think there might be a quarterback competition that's just a bit above his pay grade. Possibly, from what I understand out of the Tampa Bay quarterback room. All right, moving on to Minnesota taking Kellen Mond. Okay, Kellen Mond helped himself considerably this year with more consistent play. He piled up a lot of statistics, but very uneven performances his first 3 seasons at College Station. Then Kellen Mond really turned it on this year, played much more consistent, and then he showed out for the scouts at the Senior Bowl and in the Pro Day, and his stock shot up. For Kellen Mond to get into the first couple picks of the 3rd round to Minnesota, that would have never been guessed by anybody a year ago. The cornerback from Stanford, New Orleans Saints. Chargers take Josh Palmer, wide receiver, Tennessee. And if you can get drafted by playing wide receiver at Tennessee after the god-awful quarterbacks that they've had playing there, Jared Garantano being the primary one over the past few years, congratulations, Josh Palmer, that you made it out of Tennessee as a wide receiver and got drafted in the 3rd round. Pick number 91, the Cleveland Browns take Anthony Schwartz. SEC fans, you should know about Anthony Schwartz. He is a burner, track star Olympian, but he may be not versatile enough to stay on the field. because it takes more than just speed to stay on the field in the NFL. And his production at Auburn declined each season he was there. Monty Rice, really good linebacker at Georgia. Maybe Uncle Lou can fill us in a little bit more on Monty Rice, but I'm certainly was impressed with Monty Rice when I watched Georgia play football, which I do about 5, 6, 7 times per year. And Monty Rice goes to Tennessee. Baltimore, Ben Cleveland, Georgia. This guy's tape was fun to watch. If you like just watching football, Uncle Lou says Monty Rice is not an NFL player. And here in the second and third rounds, basically, it's always been my understanding that if you select somebody in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, they should eventually be a starter. If you're selecting one of the top 100 players in the NFL draft, they should eventually be developed into a starter, maybe not necessarily the first season. Ben Cleveland, I loved watching his tape. He was just not. There was a sequence against Mississippi State in which there was a pass play downfield. JT Daniels hit somebody for a touchdown, and he took 2 Mississippi State dudes and he threw one away, in the open field. The other dude, he pushed into the rest of the offensive line. And there were a few other plays in which he just engulfed the defender, just engulfed the guy, just flattened him. So, and he looks like you give that guy an axe and you send him out back to chop some wood for a while for you. Uncle Lou, Mark, do you think Florida will ever win the SEC again? It's been 14 seasons. I think right now that Alabama's got the best program, of course, in the conference, and Georgia's number 2, and LSU is a bit of a wild card, but most likely number 3 with the talent they have, and Texas A&M's right there. And those 4 are definitely all in better position than Florida. Auburn could be very quickly. They certainly have the resources and have done it before. And then you've got a bunch of schools that, at least a couple other teams that could be primed to overtake Florida. Kentucky, Missouri. Tennessee's a mess. Long range Tennessee can, if they got the right people in place, could get back to where they would need to be. But right now there are 4 definite programs better than Florida in the SEC. And then there are a couple that are on their heels that have a better vibe right now.